So we're gonna move on to the Raptors Bucks games that happened. That literally ended like probably 3 hours ago. So, what was the name of the game, Justin? Me and you both watched it together.
Right. So it was Game 5. Toronto won in Milwaukee by a final score of 105-99. And here are my few takes of the game. So if you guys listened to me before this game, my preview, I said outside the stars, you need another good player to help really boost your team, because that's what the playoffs are all about. That's why teams like the Trailblazers, how they beat the Nuggets, because they had players like Lillard and McCollum, and with Denver only having the Joker. But that's what happened with Toronto tonight. As a team, for starters, they shot 42% from three. That's pretty good, considering as a whole team and not like two individual players. And a lot of that was boosted, though, by Van Fleet. Van Fleet scored 21 points off the bench. He shot 7 for 9 from the three-pointer. That's an absurd number. That's like some Steph Curry type numbers there. But he did this all off the bench, and he played 37 minutes, though. And you're like, okay, he's on the bench. Why is he playing that many minutes? Because Danny Green, once again, not doing much in the playoffs, had 0 points on 0 for 3 shooting. And his only stats, he recorded 1 rebound and 1 steal in 15 minutes of play. So obviously, both being guards, and Van Fleet could play the shooting guard other than just him, as he's listed at point guard. They obviously played with him a lot, and they used him well, and it worked out in their advantage to the win. Kawhi led the team, though, in scoring with 35 points, 7 rebounds, and 9 assists. I mean, if you watch the game, anything past like the last 5 minutes of the fourth quarter, the ball always was in Kawhi's hands. He is their best player by quite a bit range, and then Lowry, but I mean, playoff Lowry still, this whole season hasn't proved himself overall in the playoffs because he hasn't been that good. But he's improving, and that's what you want to see. Siakam, he's doing good. He's holding down the fort in the middle there. But the main story was Leonard had help outside of Lowry, and I think that's what got Toronto to win. But also, and the reasons why I think Milwaukee lost on their side, they shot 32% from three. That's still not bad as a team. They went to the free throw line about 10 times less. Even though they out-rebounded them by 8, they had more steals. More assists by 7. They had fewer steals, fewer block shots, and they were turning the ball over 5 times more than Toronto, which, as you know in basketball, anything over 10 turnovers in a game for a team, especially when it gets to 12, 14, 15, that is when it's very hard to win because you're just giving up possessions. And when you give up possessions like that, it's like, okay, you should have to go back on defense, and they score easily. So that's a main issue. Plus, they fouled Toronto quite a bit. But as I said this with both teams about having an outside player helping the superstars. Giannis had 24. That's not bad. He shot 2 for 3 from a three-pointer. So, I mean, that's improvement for him. His free throw wasn't that good. I don't have the numbers here for that, but it's not improving, and that's a thing we need to see because even if he missed 3 free throws, that's a 3-point game now. So, he needs to work on that because they're losing valuable points there at the end of the game. Brook Lopez had 16. That wasn't bad. Middleton, he didn't do much in scoring, but he got a double-double still with rebounds and assists, so he did decent there. Brogdon always put up some good shots. Bledsoe had 20. He kind of, attempted to keep the game close with Giannis. But their bench scored 15 points. I mean, George Hill had 12 of those. Fred VanVleet alone had 21. Their bench was outscored by about 20. So, outside of the superstars, Toronto was able to provide more help, which led them to winning. Nick, what do you think the main game changers were in Game 5?
Yeah, like you just said it. It was really just bench points, but it was kind of confusing because the game was still close, but I feel like that's just because Danny Green got 0 points. So I mean, you see the huge bench points numbered, but it's really kind of miscued because Danny Green was a starter and he got 0 points. So it's kind of crossed out. So you can almost put Fred VanVleet in as a starter, and kind of just scratch out the bench points numbers because, Powell and Ibaka got 8 and 6 on the bench, so that combines for 14 on the bench. And then the Bucks got 15 on the bench. And then you can just scratch out bench points in general. But what it really came down to, in my opinion, is Chris Middleton did not shoot well at all. He went 0 for 2 from the 3-point, like for threes in general. He went 2 for 9 on field goals, and he made 2 shots, and he made 2 shots, 2 field goals, and then he made 2 free throws, and he had 6 points. So, yes, he did have a double-double off of rebounds and assists, but I honestly think he could have had a triple-double easily because he took 9 shots. He didn't take a lot of shots. 9 shots for him isn't a lot because he's one of their main scorers. Him, Giannis, Bledsoe, Brogdon, I'd consider them their main scorers with Hill off the bench, but I'd say the main part that stunned me was that Fred VanVleet came off the bench and he went insane. He went 7 for 9 from the 3-point for off of 3 points, and that was unheard of. I didn't think that was going to happen at all. He went 7 for 13 on field goals. That was just his plus minus was plus 28. That's just crazy. That's obviously just because he came off the bench and he was probably playing bench players, but still, he was playing in clutch time. I saw him, me and you saw him. He was playing in clutch time. He was dropping threes in people's face. He was clutch. So,
yeah. Other quick things about the game that I have. They were down, I want to say it was 14 points they were down around halftime, and they slowly started working their way back. And in the fourth quarter, they outscored Milwaukee by 9. That's not a big difference, but that's a heartbreaker for Milwaukee, especially being in their court, Kawhi had 15 in the fourth quarter. Like I said, the last 5 minutes, he took over the game. He did it all for them. He was rebounding, he was shooting, he was making it. He got to the line. I think he shot 5 free throws in the last 3 minutes. He was basically doing it all for them. Other than that, I don't think there's going to be much more out of this series. But who knows, honestly. Nick, what are your thoughts on this Game 6?
Yeah, this series is over. I think this series is over.
Really?
I think it's over next game. I honestly think it's over. But, you never know. If Giannis has a monster game, if Giannis has a monster game, then I think that's the only way that this series is still alive, is Giannis goes for 35 points. He had 24 points tonight. Doesn't he usually drop more than that?
Yeah, he usually has a few more points, but I don't know. It's Giannis. He does so many other things that they really need help. All year they've been doing really good with the unit they have. As it is, they only lost 2 games in a row once all year, and now they lost 3 in a row. So this is their second actual losing streak this whole year.
Right.
But they're like a tractor trailer truck going down the mountain with their brakes have been cut off. There's no stopping. I think I agree with you, Nick. I think the series is over. It's going back to Toronto. Drake's gonna be there on the sidelines,
Giving a massage to Nick Nurse.
Yep. He's gonna be there getting the face of Giannis. Honestly, I kind of want to put money he gets kicked out of the game just for fun. Why not? But I agree with you. It says Toronto's projected to win by 2. I mean, projections are always, obviously, they can be wrong, as Milwaukee was supposed to win by 7 tonight, and they did not do that, obviously. But I just think, like I said, I think this series is over.
Yeah. I think definitely. I mean, they're playing for their season right now, so.
Right. I mean, but what the Bucks need to do to come back, I mean, they need to have Giannis score, like you said, probably 35. They need 20 points and 10 rebounds at least from Brook Lopez. They need Bledsoe to have at least 20 points for them to even be given a chance. But what the thing is, though, is they were actually really close tonight. And I forgot to mention this a little bit earlier, but without having Van Fleet 7 for 9 from 3, I mean, that's an extraordinary shooting percentage. But let's say he went 5 for 9. This is a tie game when we don't know the outcome because the last few seconds were just dribbled off. But we don't know the outcome. And it all matters every shot, you know. Every shot matters because you never know. One's going to miss, and then it could lead to 3, and then you just play different near the end. So they just need their whole team to just balls to the walls, honestly, in order to win.
Yeah.